All right, I guess we'll just start the episode.
Oh,
perfect. And there's our cold open. Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Riff Arcade. Longtime viewers of the channel might remember way back, like year one of Riff Arcade. Butts and I did a couple of special episodes playing Super Mario Brothers, where we just kind of interviewed each other and sort of asked questions about, like, just our video gaming in general, just to kind of learn, like, what's our background, when did we start playing, that kind of thing, etc., etc. Well, since then, we've, of course, added Mr. Spence to the channel.
We had a baby.
I gestured this way. He's, of course, down here. He's down in the, what is now a very accurate green screen. Hello. The Queen Wave. So, Spence, Butts is playing, by the way, in case that wasn't obvious.
Now I got it. Bring it on, Goombas. Crap.
So,
Rage Man.
So Spence, let's learn a little more about you. Starting with the very beginning, what was your earliest video game memory, and when was it?
This one. It was probably like 5-6 years old. I feel like there probably was like some sort of bundle that maybe, Walmart or whoever at the time was carrying, where they would sell the regular Nintendo with this and Duck Hunt.
Yes.
And my parents got that for me and my brother for Christmas. We played that for a little while. That would be my first memory, would be this game.
Okay. So, did you, before you got it, before you personally owned it and put hands on it, did you ever, like, see it at a friend's house or, like, on television, or?
I may have seen you play it, maybe, but video games as a whole were kind of unknown to me until they kind of landed in my lap, and then they've been in my life ever since, in one way or another.
Yep, you had aspirations of becoming like a football player.
I could have been a doctor or perhaps a financier, but I chose a more challenging career.
Upstage, lads. No. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that's
you're doing.
Yeah. Butts is over there just saying,
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Spence.
Talking about doctors?
Muppet Treasure Island. No.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Ooh, no. Tim Curry, when was your earliest video game? Well, lads.
His own number.
Yeah, that's why I asked if you had seen anyone else play it, because I was like, for those of you who don't know, Spence and I are cousins. I was very curious to know if perhaps
I want that.
I was your first video gaming memory.
Possibly at your old house
Yes.
before you moved to Thomaston.
Right.
Yeah.
The first house I remember living in, yeah.
I will say that not the first memory, but one of the early memories, it was like you playing Tiny Toons. That was a early memory. And Dick Tracy. That was another one.
We haven't done Dick Tracy yet on the channel. That's an option for later. But yeah, that's one of my brother's favorite NES games is Dick Tracy.
Richard Tracy.
I know that
I guess that's true.
my parents bought me the Batman game that after I think maybe I saw you play it, and I got one copy of my own and played that for a little while.
It wasn't me, because my first memories of the Batman game was playing it at your house.
Okay. So we're getting all our memories jumbled around. We're that old
Wait,
now.
that's my memory. I did a thing.
Yeah.
It's the Matrix.
You broke the game, Butts. No one's ever seen this before.
I did not know how to do this the first time I played through it.
This is one of those things, I mean, back when this came out, it was like before the
Yeah.
internet, before
Great.
et cetera, et cetera. But like everyone knew about that trick, and it had to be spread by word of mouth. So like that was just one of the first like viral video game moments, was just
Oh crap.
it got passed around that you could warp in the second level. Oh.
Now, where it started to take off, and see a lot of like Gen Z fans out there probably, don't know what it's like to see a huge jump, because, like from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5, for example, I mean, maybe some like an increase in frame rate, maybe a slight increase in graphics, but it's really not much of a jump there. But like my solid memories of video games started forming when the Super Nintendo came out. And that was a huge jump from this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, whoa, when you would get that thing out as a kid and play Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
Compared to this, that was a huge leap because that happened within a span of like 5-6 years. Like, was it like 6 years? I don't actually know. I'm just guessing for the people watching.
I think it was Nintendo was 85. Super Nintendo is, I think, 89 in Japan. So yeah, like 4 years, something like that.
And that was quite a leap from this to that. And I would say probably once we got to like PS3 and what was the Xbox? Was that Xbox 360?
360, yeah.
Once we got to that generation, you started seeing like diminishing returns of huge improvements in like gaming or graphics or anything like that. It was more about, different ideas and concepts.
Yeah.
But up until that point, each new console was such a huge jump in graphics and gameplay that it was always exciting.
Yeah, I think the 64, going from Super Nintendo to 64.
Mm-hmm. I miss that too. I miss like a new system would come out and you're just like, well, time to get my mind blown again.
Yeah, and like I remember there were like I would be sitting there, all throughout December just like dying because Christmas wasn't there yet. I so wanted to unwrap the new gaming console that my parents had gotten me for Christmas because I'd done all this reading in the Nintendo magazines or any other magazines of the day, and you get so excited, looking forward to that. And on Christmas Day, I mean, it really does feel like Christmas. And these days, it's like, oh, hey, Hogwarts Legacy, that's great. I'll go ahead and pre-order that. It's fine.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of that is also like there's not as much of a return investment on the technology, but also like now we're becoming adults and stuff. I do, if I may get deep for a second, I do sometimes also wonder if that's like us, because like we've been playing video games for like 30 some odd years now. I do wonder how much of that is like,
Come on,
I've kind of seen it all.
Just die. What are you doing?
Give me the 200 points.
I shot you like 3 times.
Check writing, man.
So I don't know. And that's something I'm still asking myself. So stay tuned. Who knows? I might have an answer later on.
Yeah.
Oh, get out there, Bucksmith! Like, are we dying on the inside? Or is it gaming?
It's No, it's the children that are wrong.
Yeah. Am I so out of touch? No. It's the children who are wrong. So, Spence, what would you say was like your system? Like, what is the, like, when you say what is the system of my generation, what would you say? What's your favorite?
Well, probably the PlayStation 2.
Yeah? Is that kind of where you feel like you peak gaming?
Yeah, I would say that was probably the top of the top, and then everything has just slowly, I won't say gone sharply downhill, because I mean there's always there's been some great games that have come out in the last few years, and they're all great, but I would say that's where we began the diminishing returns, was after the PlayStation 2.
Interesting.
Because there were so many heavy hitters from PlayStation 2. You had Kingdom Hearts, you had Final Fantasy X, there's like a Twisted Metal, there was, let me see, what else was, I think there was like a Splinter Cell game on there.
Sounds right.
Let's see, I'm trying to remember. Well, I'll remember them as we go on through the episode. I'm probably going to blurt them out as I remember them, but I would say, yeah, the PlayStation 2 was probably the one. Soul Calibur. I think there was a Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur 2.
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk 3 and 4, yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that's probably the console that had a lot of heavy hitters on it, and
that's where Spence was just rocking and rolling.
Yes.
The controller.
Funny enough, though, I will say that I never got an Xbox 360, and I never, I don't own an Xbox One, but I did have an original Xbox, and I would say that some of my favorite games, two of my favorite games for sure, came out on the original Xbox. And that would be Knights of the Old Republic and Jade Empire.
Oh yeah, both BioWare games.
And so, shout out to them, especially Knights of the Old Republic. That one was like a fanboy's fantasy of like, what if I could play Star Wars, but as an RPG?
Yeah. They're trying to get a remake of that game off the ground. I don't know how well it's going, but...
Yeah, what's going on with BioWare?
If you're watching this in 5 years in the comments, let me know if the Knights of the Old Republic remake came out.
Yeah, 2023 Josh Ned.
Somebody will put in the comments, it came out yesterday, where have you been?
Yeah, duh.
Sucks.
Someone comments on a 6-year-old video, it came out like a year ago, duh. Thanks, YouTube.
I didn't.
Oh, that's fine.
Whatever. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, of course, y'all know me. I would put it back towards like Super Nintendo or N64. I became crotchety old man when it came to video games really fast. I mean, I still like newer systems, and I get newer systems, but I'm like, you're never
This is
gonna...
the man who owns a PlayStation 5.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, I can't stop. It is a problem. But
I mean,
Help
if you had asked me what console did I play with friends the most, I'd tell you N64, and mostly for GoldenEye. Several of my friends, like in my grade growing up, loved GoldenEye. We'd have like pizza parties on Friday and play GoldenEye.
Yeah.
So that was one. Smash Brothers, the first Smash Brothers.
Mario Kart.
Mario
64.
Kart. Yep, that's another one. So, I'd say, for a party, N64 is probably the most played, and then right after that would be the Switch.
All right.
Switch is great.
Yeah, the Switch really... It's just so dang versatile. Okay, favorite genre of video game?
I guess I'll go with RPG because those are the ones I tend to gravitate towards.
Correct. Next question. So, let's see. I guess you'd say PS2 is your favorite system. That's pretty much what you were getting at.
I suppose that would be the one with some of the best memories from the best set of games.
Okay. Buzz, do you have any questions off the bat?
No. PlayStation 2, huh? Okay.
Cool, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Big
see you
gulps, huh?
later.
All right. No.
Oh.
Do you fantasy or sci-fi?
I would prefer sci-fi. So I love Skyrim, for example, but Fallout
Yeah, I love Skyrim.
I prefer.
Fallout, yes.
There you go.
So also Shadowrun. If you've never played Shadowrun, go play that.
Yeah. Okay. Swords or guns? Which is sort of like the last question,
Final
but a
Fantasy.
different spin.
That's a tough one.
Gun swords?
Yeah, let's go with
Final Fantasy.
let's go with guns. Let's
Okay,
go with guns.
okay. That was a harder... I noticed you had a little more trouble answering that one, though.
I did, because I mean the sword is cool, the ancient mystical sword of
Yeah.
Claymore.
I studied the blade.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
okay.
Or here's a grenade launcher. That works.
Huh.
Well, okay.
Swords don't have splash damage.
I don't have to be as accurate.
Okay. Well, I think we've got a pretty good idea of what makes you tick in the video game world. Did you ever take any breaks in gaming? Or have you pretty much just...
Oh, what?
Aw.
Wait, touch me.
Yeah, there were some times where, maybe I didn't have a system, or I was, focused on other things in life at the time. And, you know, as you get older, you don't necessarily have as much time as you used to play games, but I try to fit them in every now and then as best I can to keep it going. But yeah, I mean, you know, adult life does creep in on that.
I hit the
Boy,
pillar.
it does.
That's not a bad thing, though.
Oh, game over. All right, last question: Nintendo or Sega?
I'm gonna go with Nintendo. If those are the choices, I'm going with Nintendo.
Those are the choices. Yeah. Yeah. You like me were a Nintendo kid, which is not a bash against Sega. It's just our parents bought Nintendo consoles for birthdays and Christmas presents.
I would just say that Sega just had a very unfortunate run in terms of consoles. I mean, the Genesis was cool. The Game Gear was cool. If the Dreamcast had just come out like a year earlier, it would be talked about way more often. But I think like PlayStation 2 came out like right after that and blew it out of the water. It was just a very unfortunate timing. I did like the Dreamcast, though, I will say. Crazy Taxi, which I have said we should play as an episode on this channel.
If anyone wants to donate a Dreamcast to Riff Arcade, DM us. We will be in touch.
We'll play it.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of Riff Arcade. I hope you're all a little more comfortable with Spence. We know him a little more deeper, a little more intimately. I'm going to stop using sentences.
Yeah.
I can't go any further than
I
that.
want to hear Spence and deeper in the same sentence.
It's going to get weird. All right. See you on the next episode of Riff Arcade.
Get weird.